attitude. We need swagger, okay? Regardless of what happens out there. Doesn't matter. Keep your swagger.
Welcome in, everyone. This is the 5-Hole Fantasy Hockey Podcast. No Taxi Squad, just 5-Hole. We're your hosts tonight, Alan and Jay. What do we got going on, Jay?
Oh, it's good. Hockey's back. We're back. 5-Hole's back. It is lit.
Dude, it felt like a tease because it was like 2 days with the global games during the middle of the day. You can watch it at work and then nothing for 2-3 days. And then now it's back. But now already we have a postponed game, which we'll get into in a moment. But before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping. You can follow us, Twitter, X. You can subscribe to us on YouTube now. We got our weekly anchor shows. Plus, when we now have our bullshit show on Wednesdays, where you can just hang out with us, chat, watch some games. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into news around the league. Jay, if you want to start us off.
Yeah, man. I guess more than anything, goalies are voodoo. I guess goalies are still voodoo, honestly. Couldn't believe it. Like the Leafs were, I think, what was it, December 2021? That was the last time that team had been shut out. Got testy and tetchy at certain points last season even, but no, of all teams, the season opener, 24-25, and against Montebo? Anyways, inversely, higher draft capital, Georgiev, Skinner, both pulled last night in pretty much like blowouts, right? And I think Colorado made it a little closer later, but yeah, anyways, Helly, obviously, Shesty, both seems like they rewarded their high draft capitals. So who knows?
Sample size of one.
Sample size of one. What was the one as well with I guess who's that?
Oh, the Rangers.
Who's the Canadian? Who's the Canadian I was mentioning? Juraj Slafkovsky. Yeah, he's currently, I think, on a point per game calculation, right, at the moment.
Oh, and Alexis Lafreniere, 164 point pace.
164 point pace. You heard it here right on the pod.
And as well, I think this was the first. I just heard on, I think, Daily Faceoff or whatever today. This is the first New York opening game shutout since 1957.
God, that sounds wow. Okay. Well, I think TJ said it last night, and I think Trouba also is on 164 point pace too. But yeah, I guess you heard it also on 5-Hole. Is this President's Cup winning Rangers, and are they also going to become, Stanley Cup winning New York Rangers? Anywho, sample size of one, guys. Sample size of one. Yeah. Note, Alan mentioned it again too. That Saturday game between Carolina and Tampa. It's going to be postponed because of Hurricane Milton. I know they were saying different sport crossover as well, but they were saying even at Tropicana Field in Tampa, like the roof was getting ripped straight off by the hurricane. So yeah, please stay safe down there around Tampa.
Yeah, seems like the worst is over there, but yeah, man, who knows what the situation is down there. My parents are down there. They live on the Atlantic side. They didn't lose power at all somehow. But, my brother lives in Orlando. Like, he was still able to fly in this afternoon from, I think he was like northwest of Vancouver in like some random mine doing his thing. Yeah. But now that takes us to injuries. Some updates on, we got Papa Jenner. He had shoulder surgery yesterday. The team is hoping he can play before season ends. I think I heard a timeline of it was like 4 to 6 months. I think they're hoping he can be ready by the outdoor game, which someone's going to. With him out, it looks like Chinakhov is slotting into his line one spot. Are we interested, Jay, at all?
Jeez, and here I was thinking, I'm like, man, like I know he's not like. Anyways, I don't want to say anything uncouth, but there I was thinking, like, damn, who's the pickup? Almost immediately. But yeah, Chinikov is definitely, I don't know, like this Columbus team, and I know it can go either way. We'd like to believe that this team can turn it around and really, really, like come together in this time of tragedy. But the other part is like if you just got a house of its foundations, like to believe it's gonna stand is fool's errand, right? So you look here and what talent even exists on this Columbus Blue Jackets team, right? Like Monahan is probably,
Your
he's
line
definitely
was your line one center all year.
like these guys need some NHL level talent to play with, right? Like Chinikov, nothing against the guy, but like, anyways, I
Fantilli's
think
probably not ready.
if you're gonna be dipping into Chinikov on your team, you're pretty much going only for streams, and I don't even see currently this coming week as a heavy Blue
It's
Jacket
not.
stream. So I don't know.
What
I'd stay away. But if you're a true fifth line Blue Jackets believer, take him. He's all yours. He's probably available, literally on
But
your waiver wire.
live update here in the comments. Parataran, always love your commentary, dude. Barkov looks like he went into the boards funny, helped off the ice. Hopefully, I don't know if we'll see any more updates on that the rest of the night. But staying on the same team, Adam Boquist took a puck to the face in that first game. He is out tonight, but is hopeful for Saturday. He was getting power play one up until he left that game. Ekblad stunks to the moon because it was his turn, which I guess answers the question. If Boquist has that really really short leash and they take him off, who's up? Is it Forsling or Ekblad? And it looks like the answer is Ekblad.
And I mean, Ekblad's not exactly, he's definitely beyond Band-Aid boy in training, right? So Forsling might definitely be a worthwhile person to consider.
And then kind of a return, Sorokin. He is the backup tonight. For a while there today, it looked like Saros was going to be backup, but it looks like it's the former Dallas goalies, Wedgwood and Murray, not that Matt Murray, are in for Nashville tonight. Saros is still day-to-day with some kind of lower body injury. Hopefully he comes back soon. Please, please, please. That's it for news and notes. Next up, we'll dig into the mailbag. We need a soundbite. We got to get the soundbite for that. Some kind of mailbag sound. But first, we'll start with Rook in the Discord. Hey, keeping on the same train of thought here. Thoughts on Adam Boquist post-injury, and if Ekblad keeps the power play one role when Boquist comes back from being injured. What's your thoughts, Jay?
I think my same thought on Boquist is the same idea with God, what was the name of the guy he just retired this year? He bounced around left, right, and center as that power play quarterback specialist. But he played like I want to say 13 or 11 minutes a night. Like it was insane. Like he literally popped on only for power plays. And I don't think Boquist is quite in that angle quite yet, but I definitely think targeting a player, in my mind, when I'm targeting a defense core, I want production that's guaranteed beyond the man advantage. So for me, if the main guy is just going to get power play time and be treated as that specialist, I'm not saying I wouldn't add him on a week. I'm saying when I envision my core, I envision in a classic league 4 spots, maybe even 5 spots with one guy rotating in. I do not consider a power play specialist. I do consider power play quarterbacks, but not power play specialists as one of the core 4 or 5D. That's my opinion. What about you, Alan?
It's hard to be impartial here because I want Ekblad to take that role. But I mean, even from the get-go, I assumed if they were going to give it to Boquist, and it just seems like they're always looking for a reason not to give it to Ekblad. If they do give it to Boquist, it's going to be a pretty short leash. Like this was a guy that's all he does. He's that, that archetype. He's that 12-minute-ish a night guy, no peripherals. Just runs your power play. So if he can't hack it, And I could see them just going right back to Ekblad, or maybe even they try Forsling, which I hope they don't do. But I mean, this is a guy that was, I don't know, I think they might have given him a little run in Columbus, but I think they bought him out. So, which it says something about their need for a specialized player like that. But yeah, no, too long, didn't listen, didn't watch. He'll have a short leash, I think, but I could see them giving it right back to Boquist if he's back on Saturday. Then Bravest Face 666 on Discord, top face-off league guys under the radar. So I did a little digging on this one because I was interested too. Before I get into some specific players, I would suggest keep an eye out on those role guys on the PK. Those are typically the guys they want winning clutch face-offs for you. But off the top of my head, JGP, John Gabriel Pajot, not only covers face-offs for you, he gets hits, blocks, shots, good for the occasional shorthanded point, if that's a separate category for you. Godspeed, Parataran. But yeah, some of the other guys, I just looked up guys that had, more than 800 face-offs last season that were kind of in the top. And again, kind of some homer picks, Luke Glendening, Nick Paul on Tampa. They're kind of guys that get thrown out there, third, fourth line, like role guys. Actually, someone that made the list, he had almost 1,300 face-offs last year. Sean Monahan, now a line one guy. Depending on how deep or shallow your league is, he may not have even gotten drafted. Boone Jenner, we can't get him.
Yeah, I hate to be the downer there, but
someone I know you mentioned at least once last year, Jay. Unfortunately, Jordan Stahl is retired. He was absolutely just a clutch face-off guy, but without too many specific names. Oh my gosh, what was your name again? Bravest Face. Look for the guys on like your PK third and fourth line. If you're looking specifically to cover face-offs.
I actually had a couple names I was going to mention as well. First, I want to shout out Connor. Yeah, hello, how you doing? Welcome to the pod as well. The big one I was going to say too is you look for guys just like in that Monahan situation where you are either tasked to win a face-off or, for better or for worse, forced into a situation where you have to take yet another face-off. Unfortunately for Columbus, I can see that puck getting dug out of the net once more and brought to the face-off dot in the center circle over and over and over again. And you want the guy taking the dot when that happens. Not saying they're going to score anything off it, but he might win the circle for you. So the other guys I was looking around too, I was digging around looking at some stats. Obviously, you have your classic guys like Tro and Heischer. I don't even think they're under.
But low key.
Yeah, they're like the high key face-off guys. But this dude's 9% owned. Like Mikael Backlund, like another team, right? Calgary. That team is not going to be winning many games, digging pucks out of net once more, and he's going to probably be on duty, taking the draw once more over and over. He's on line 2, power play 2, and crazy enough, he's center left wing. So, I mean, this is another, I think, like deeper strategy here for any folks, but what's stopping you from slotting winger eligible center right in your left wing slot or right wing slot and just having them duck faceoffs, especially for them faceoff wins? So yeah, for any managers that are looking for deeper value strats, there are Cats leagues, you just grab one of those guys, stick them on the wing, and just have them feather away in the center dot.
I would say, I don't know what his role is going to be on Nashville, but I mean, Stamkos was another sneaky guy to get you some faceoffs. When he was in Tampa, I don't know if Nashville will kind of use him in that role again. But yeah, they would play him wing, and then, oh no, the center got tossed out. There you go, Stammer, take the face off. But yeah, there you go. And then T Marshall, man, we'll try to blow through these rapid fire. First one is, how do you feel about the top unit on the Sabres? Tons of production 2 years ago, huge stud last year. Are they somewhere in the middle? He has Tage and Tuck and always looking to GM early in the year. I'm assuming he means like flip them if need be. I don't know. They're getting, well, not caved in tonight, but they're down 2-1 against the Kings. I don't feel like Jersey was a real good team to meter against, because I think we expect Jersey to be a play or a cup contending team this season. And it sucks already. They're down Paterka. I think they're down Quinn. At least one other kind of player that was supposed to be in their top 6. And I think what I hear, they're slotting in Power on that top unit, and then someone else with their injuries.
Quinn is just a sea of goose eggs. My goodness. Is the dude? So the dude is just going for free skates, basically, from what I'm seeing. Holy boly smokes.
Yeah, how do we... I'm not super high on them, and normally October's their month, for Buffalo at least. But I don't know. What are your thoughts, Jay?
The thing is, the problem is, like, last season I was already kind of iffy on a team that, like, anytime you have characters like Mika Zibanejad scoring 5 goals or Tage Thompson scoring 5 goals, you have to remember that fantasy is not won on players of high, flashy production. I mean, obviously, yeah, there's going to be Connor McDavid and that sort of flashy production, sure, but the consistent Kyle Connor is better than the flashy Tage Thompson. So you want a guy who can just contribute day in, day out. And the thing with Buffalo that's strange is they're so flashy, and they got all those flashy guys that every one of those players are drafted so high. They're drafted basically with the assumption of, like, you know, Timmy Stu. It's like that classic, oh yeah, man, he's just gonna improve even more, and they're gonna get even better. Man, Buffalo, geez, Dahlin's like a first rounder, Tage is like what, a second rounder. Like, they're already drafted as high as they can get. If you're looking to trade these guys, who would you target to get back of value? And in terms of production and what they would give back to you, like, do they have, like, what is that ceiling? What is that range where we'd expect them to say, yeah, I can see them finishing pretty well? They're not going to be a top team in the Atlantic. So maybe it's like somewhere in the higher 8 to 16 range in the entire league. Is that the realistic goal? I think that's probably the real goal. And the problem now too is they've already lost 3 of their opening games. This is not the team I would hitch. It's not a great start. It's not a great start. I mean, I don't know. They're bottom of the league at the moment. I don't think they'll be bottom of the league for the whole season. I would try to get off the horse. Now, the only problem is, I would say beyond Dahlin and Tage, I don't think they're tradable. I think you just sit on them and you hope to God they pull and come true. And I don't know.
See, I am of, if you're going to move one of them, you'd try to move Tage just on name value. But who do you target? I guess. Yeah. But Tuck, I feel like, is worth far less on name value.
Oh, geez. And this sounds horrific to say, imagine, because it will sound horrific no matter what, because in certain leagues, Tuck is going to be so much more valuable than anything on the wire. But honestly, in tons of 10-teamers, and I would say even like shorter bench 12-teamers, Tuck is probably going to play a lot of that season on the, wow, I'm so glad he's overcompensating for value based on where I drafted him, and comparatively, he's the anchor bottom that's going to haul you down if you hold on to him too many weeks. So I would say, like, like Tuck and below. Like, in that team, it's Tuck and below. Anyone there, do not be fearful to cut bait and grab somebody that's producing on the wire. And I'm not saying whoever you're pulling off and dropping off for Tuck is going to be, you know, your keeper stalwart for the rest of the year. But, like, Tuck can be vacated for an extra streaming spot if this is the way they're going to produce. Like, what was his setup tonight? He got a goal. He got 1 assist. Okay, like, that's pretty nice, I guess, if you're going to go for it. But, like, these sorts of nights, a goal with 18 minutes of, I don't know, like, I can already hear the commenters going like, oh, yeah, CJ, you're just being overly negative. But, like, it's just, this is Buffalo in a nutshell. They don't do enough. on the Knights based on what draft is actually being granted to them.
I don't know. Like I said, I feel like normally October is their month. They, we're always asking ourselves, is Buffalo going to make the playoffs this year? And then they crash down to earth by Christmas. Yeah. I'd say I don't give up on them yet. But if you get a really good offer, on Tage, like sort of equivalent to where you would have drafted him or better, yeah, shoot, why not? But I just had a question in the chat from Connor. Need your thoughts on Pittsburgh going forward this year. Made some decent moves, low risk, high reward. The team did. Okay, Cody Glass, the Beauvillier. They did have an awful showing last night, but look better today. Yeah, I think they're what are they winning their game like 4-2 right now? And I think Beauvillier's gotten in on. No, he couldn't have gotten in last night because they got shut out. But yeah, I think Beauvillier's gotten in on. Yeah, he's got 2 goals tonight. And kind of spoiler alert, I would say if you're holding on to Ducks, like the fringe Ducks, like obviously Crosby, Malcolm Letang, those are the guys you draft as studs, you hang on to them. But guys like Beauvillier, I have Rickle Rackle in a spot. Those I would hold those guys through next week because Pittsburgh does have the perfect streaming schedule, 4 games, 4 off nights. You're going to have no problem fitting those guys into your schedule. But no, I kind of thought like going into the season, I looked up and down that roster. They could be peskier to play against than you would think for guys that are going on 60. I don't know, Jay, what are your thoughts on Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I mean, I was made to eat crow straight off. Like last night on the stream, I was like, man, do we ever wonder, like, could Crosby ever, struggle, without any run support, so to speak, on the wing? And no, I don't think so. I think he's probably going to keep his point per game pace and, roll on continually. 2 assists tonight, still appeared to play. Yeah, I don't know about sneaky value. I don't know, like low risk, high reward.
Keeps that deployment. Well, I think he means like the team construction.
Yeah.
In the offseason, they got like Cody Glass, who was, I think, like third line guy. No, that's right. So he was kind of third line fringe guy in the Vegas system. Then Nashville took a chance on him, or he got traded to Nashville. I don't think he did anything last season. But Beauvillier, man, if he holds that deployment, and I mean he's scoring tonight, like yeah, absolutely. He's the kind of guy you want to hang on to.
And insane. He's doing that without a single second of power play ice time, which you'd imagine would increase if he continues, I guess, producing at this rate. Yeah. So maybe that is an immense value.
But there we go, Connor. There we go. Yeah. So Connor, he's holding Rust. Rust is a guy absolutely you feel like you hang on to in IR as long as it's not hurting you.
Yeah. I've got him parked in IR too, Connor.
But and actually that brings us to the next question from T Marshall. How do you guys feel about IR stashes like Landeskog and Nichushkin? He's got those guys in IR slots, and apparently he's getting offers on them and this is a points league.
Right.
Landeskog, honestly, depending on what the offer is, I would absolutely listen there. This guy's been out, what we say in the preseason, like 2, maybe 3 seasons.
He lifted the cup in 22. He lifted the cup in 22, and now he's not played since.
Okay, so maybe 2 seasons. But when he comes back, I mean, what's his speed going to be like, right? Like, I don't think they're going to pop him on line 1 with McKinnon and Rantanen. He might be a middle 6 guy, maybe gets power play 1.
Yeah.
But it's going to be like I don't know, like from the OV office or something. It's not going to be something that maybe he needs speed for. And then he could just never play again. It could be like Backstrom. He plays for half a dozen games and retires. But Nichushkin, I would hold him unless and this early in the season, I mean, if you lose a couple matches, whatever, but don't wait too long to cut bait on some of these guys in IR if your injuries start mounting up.
Nichushkin is an easy diamond hands, right? Like the problem with Nishushkin as well is more so there's no risk holding him on your IR, but Nishushkin was the number one ranked player for the first, I think, 4 weeks, I think in one of the seasons. Like this guy produces, especially on the Avs. And the other problem too is the Avs sit in a spot where the only reason Landeskog and Nishushkin are even given the reins that they are is because they don't have coming up the pipeline like a bounty of options, right? So Nishushkin, he's in the player assistance program. He's going to be given as much help and everything, but they're going to try to get him back as soon as possible, 100%. The thing with Landeskog is he's in the same boat and he's still been on IR this entire time, which really goes to show that it's not a matter of, oh, wow, like we're just holding him because we're trying to do the Tampa and then we're trying to do the Vegas shenanigans. Like, no, like, he genuinely can't play. I watched that show on Prime. The guy was talking about the skate absolutely lacerating and like bifurcating his quad. Like this is a muscle you use every single day, let alone power skating on ice. Like if you separate a muscle, it just doesn't grow back identically the same and you don't get the same speed. I'm sorry. Like it's a harsh truth. And 2 years off, professional level skating, Mario was able to do it, right? Like he was 3 years out from cancer, but that's friggin' Mario Lemieux. You know what I mean? Like that one of the greatest players of all time doing it does not indicate that that is a common NHL player return thing.
And so, I mean, these guys get access to the best medical care, the best drugs, HGH, whatever. But no, I mean, I hope Landeskog comes back and he actually, plays to, I don't know, even 80% of what he could before, because the game's just better when all the greats are in there. But I think in Shushkin, we have a kind of a definitive timeline. I think his suspension is up in like November, late November. I guess
I would definitely say to try to fleece with a Landeskog trade, yes. And I would definitely think you would be the fleeced in a Nishushkin trade.
Yeah. Don't like I say, if your injuries mount up, don't let that influence your trades. Don't be trading from that position of weakness. But last question from Team Marshall. He's asking about the Stars power play unit. Mentions Joe Pavelski heading into the sunset, retired, and now Wyatt Johnson taking over the top line, which it looks like, last I saw, it looks like they were putting Stankoven up there, at least for tonight. Yeah, top line. I felt like J-Rob going in the third round was good value. Yes. I kind of felt weird. It was one of those things I raised an eyebrow at last season where when J-Rob was going ended the first round. I'm like, no, something's not right here. Yeah, but no, I agree. J-Rob, third round value. If the team as a whole positively regresses, great. But yeah, no, I'm definitely interested to see what some of the younger guys can do with Pavelski out. I don't know. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I didn't know if I saw Stankoven on that line. It looks like, at least just looking at the power play time, it looks like it was Johnston, Robertson, and then I guess weirdly, Jamie Benn is still eating that top line.
And so back to one of the other questions we got, not a low key because he's pretty highly owned, but Jamie Benn is pretty good at the dot and also gets power play one time.
Yeah. It is hard with the Dallas Stars. I remember I was reading a bit too with that deeper run last year, and the problem was more so you kind of like teams that are built in the Toronto mold, right? Where the scoring comes from that top core and pretty much, it really, really trickles once it gets down. I don't know if that's true for the Dallas Stars. They almost run like a very solid first line, second line, even like their power plays, right? Like they don't, like even the second power play was getting, 2.5 minutes. Like it seems like they really try to spread out the weight, and the load of scoring is very evenly distributed as well. So, I mean, Jamie Benn's an awesome pickup. I don't know if he's a great trade target, But
No, not at all, not at all. Or just sorry, I was just going back to the other question about like low key face off guys.
yeah,
Um,
values.
but that top unit as a whole, yeah, I'd say the team's probably going to get a little better without Pavelski. Not that he was a terrible player, but well past his prime. But no, yeah, I'm now that some of these guys are trickling back in, because I know I made a comment in the preseason about how like, yeah, I just don't see what people see in Dallas. But yeah, no, they're I think what up 4-1 on Nashville right now.
Yeah, the
Not that
Preds.
yeah, Saros isn't in net for Nashville, but I know Stankoven's got a couple points tonight. Yeah, oh man, they
Jeez,
had
3 assists. Holy smokes.
yeah,
Christ.
looks like
That is-
Stankoven is on that top line.
He's doing work.
Yeah.
Put it in the work.
But I see it looks like there was a Rupe Hintz goal assisted by Stankoven and Wyatt Johnson. So it looks like they may be open at least at even strength, jostling lines some. But no, I'd say yeah, without Pavelski on that top unit, we'll get some of the young guys in. I think they'll be it'd be better overall. I can't give you a specific number, but it'll get better.
Absolutely.
That's it for the mailbag. We'll go into the weekend preview. Not a lot to talk about here. It's the same teams we were telling you to pick up at the beginning. We're now telling you to pick up at the end of the week because the only two teams that have the Friday, Sunday spots are Vegas and Winnipeg. So hopefully you picked up those guys. You still held them. Couple of guys, I would say Vegas, some of those top six, top guys are still available. Looks like Victor Olofsson is off of line 1 though, but still getting power play 1. He's only 8% owned, and it looks like Ivan Barbashev slotted back into that line 1 spot with Eichel and Stone, and he is 27% owned. I would say just go check on Stone though, because I think earlier on Yahoo I saw he was like 60-something% owned. I know I kind of drafted him late specifically for this week's schedule, assuming he played. I don't know, Jay, if you had anyone on Vegas you were looking at, or maybe someone. I know for defense, like they're one of those guys that are really good for Cats leagues.
Yeah, it really depends how deep the league is as well. I know even in certain leagues, I was able to glance through and knowing especially that William Karlsson is out. Like, geez, what was his name?
Wild Bill.
I was thinking for Tomas Hertl, but yeah, maybe that was the one I was gunning for. But yeah, Tomas Hertl, he was 70%. Maybe what was happening was he was falling deep into the drafts, right? And so I guess one other thing, probably too late for any drafters now, obviously, but if for future drafts for 25, 26, it's always valuable to just see when you're at the very end, treat your last few draft spots as functional streaming slots and, just draft one of those top studs earlier for week 1 and then, drop them for week 2 and then just get the ball rolling earlier, saves you ads, gets you ahead of the curve. But yeah, geez, no. My impression thinking Hertl was around was based on, the late drafts and he was around. He's a 70% owned now, probably. Also due to week 1.
Because I think he's power play 1 at the moment.
He is. He's power play 1. Yeah.
And definitely also a good not low key because he's so super owned, but yeah, he does take face-offs.
Bill Kessel.
Oh, Parataran, if you listen very closely late at night during a fantasy loss, you can hear Phil Kessel crying. I don't know how he didn't even get a PTO, but I feel like the whole Vancouver thing last season was really telling on his fitness level.
He's got the hot dogs. He's happy. He's got the cups. He's joyous, man. Don't
he
worry
ate cups
about him.
out of the hot dog, or 8 hot dogs out of the cup probably. But yeah, only other team going over to Winnipeg, I would say just go check on Gabe Vilardi, who's someone who's probably a long-term hold. He's 43% owned. Line 1, I can't remember if he's power play 1, but I know Ehlers is power play 1. And
I think he is power play 1, yeah.
Yeah, I think I watched him get a power play goal last night or something on the power play. Oh, that's right. Yes, I did see Connor's mentioning Phil Kessel's World Poker Championship something deal.
He's
He was talking
busy. He's
about.
busy literally going all in.
And then and then Winnipeg. Jay's killing me in the listener league with this line, but Winnipeg's got a nasty third line. Put up some work against Edmonton. Niederreiter, Adam Lowry, Appleton. They were in on 3 of the 6 goals against Edmonton last night. Like I know Niederreiter's got that scoring pedigree. Lowry, back to that question, he could be a low key like kind of face off guy for you, because they're that shutdown line.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Lowry is good value. The other guy I was looking at as well was he's like 1 or 2% owned, Nicholas Waugh. Like, dude's also right
Wait,
wing center
really?
eligible. Like, dude is the
Are we-
guy you kind of just say it again.
He's on Winnipeg this year.
No. I was just going
Oh,
back
you're
to the
saying for
schedule
Vegas.
For Vegas. Yeah. Same idea. Yeah. Just like a low key guy if we're talking face offs, just like a simple guarantee to be available dude. And also he's dual wing eligible. So center right wing eligible. So you can bunk him into the center slot or the right wing slot and he's going to be able to get the games for you, especially if you need a streaming slot.
Let's say if you're looking for bangs, Neil Pionk, always your go-to. But I feel like he's one of those guys that probably gets snatched up really, really late in the drafts since Winnipeg has that good schedule this week. Goalie stream options. The Friday, Saturday back-to-backs, you got Chicago playing Winnipeg and Edmonton. Philly playing Vancouver and Calgary. I don't want any part of Chicago goalies, especially against those 2 teams. But Philly, I don't know. I'm a little shaky about playing anyone against Calgary after streaming Silvos last night. Maybe for Philly, whoever gets the Calgary game, based on Philly being a defense first team.
Team ratings, eh?
Team ratings. Connor's asking if we do team ratings. Maybe I would say maybe a mailbag question for next week.
I mean, if he throws it up, it's not like we're gonna just look at it and ignore him, but you know, it's like rapid fire on the spot impressions.
I'm a visual person though. I need that visual cue. So I would say the closest thing would be when we start Saturdays up again.
Hell yeah.
As far as like where your team is at. I don't know, Jay. You interested in Chicago or Philly goalies for any of those back-to-backs?
Oh, geez. I mean, just like look at the fact that Winnipeg just ate Edmonton. So like you're literally gonna go to the beast and then the actual dragon that just got consumed by the beast. Like, I don't know. Chicago seems that's like heavy danger, man. Like they couldn't even keep Utah out of their net. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do when they face Winnipeg and Edmonton.
And they're a team that got definitively better in the offseason too. So it's like, nope, not starting one of the Chicago goalies against playoff bound teams.
And it's difficult because truthfully, we expect the sophomore players and, going into their junior years, we expect them to, improve with each, coming season and whatnot. But at the same time, Connor Bedard is the best Chicago Blackhawk. And when you say that sentence over and over, you either get filled with a sense of euphoria and joy, or you think and sit back and you realize, oh God, Connor Bedard is the best Chicago Blackhawk. And I don't know how you feel about Winnipeg or Edmonton, but I'm comfortably going to say, some of those guys are more established in the league and are league vets. Like, Winnipeg, you kind of just, even glancing at that team, some of those guys have been point-per-game producers for years.
Even volume leagues, speaking goalies strictly, no, I'm not starting a Chicago goalie.
Yeah, terrifying.
But then, so Saturday, Sunday back-to-backs, you got Anaheim against San Jose and Vegas. I put just no. That's another, it says like Chicago, just no. You got Calgary playing Philly and Edmonton, Dallas playing the Islanders in Seattle, Edmonton playing Chicago and Calgary, Minnesota.
Definitely pick up Pickard.
Yeah, I would say Pickard is worth a spot start against either team. Although I don't know, Edmonton and Calgary, the Battle of Alberta, like if that's the Pickard start, no thank you.
Like,
Because I feel like that's a game where both teams are going to show up.
I think the thing is that Pickard will most likely get the dub, if nothing else, in that game.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it could be like a 6-4, like 6-4, 6-5 firefight. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then Minnesota, you have Seattle and Winnipeg, and then Seattle, Minnesota, and Dallas. A lot of teams playing each other in these back-to-backs. I don't know. I think Dallas would probably be worth rolling the dice on. I forget who their backup is.
Wedgwood, right?
No, Wedgwood's Nashville. Yeah, because we were just at the beginning of the show. We were saying, both those Dallas guys went to Nashville.
All right, let's pop them quick. Their backup is Casey DeSmith. Okay. Well,
I don't know. He wasn't, but Vancouver played like a really defensive-minded system last year.
Yeah,
I don't know if I feel the same because Pittsburgh, he was not great. Vancouver, I think we all underestimated him, and he was good for starts. Dallas, though, I would say Dallas would make it easy for him. I'd say he's worth rolling the dice on. But Calgary, Vladar, Vladar and Wolf. I don't feel good enough about either of those games to start.
I don't think that the Calgary team, at least this is obviously, I don't want to be colored by the first game's impressions and all that stuff, but I don't see and think that Calgary is sufficiently amazingly better than Chicago in any form or way. I think 20 games in, we could reasonably see both of those teams hovering around similar position in the standings, and just based on probabilities like that, I think both teams are in for a loss against Edmonton. So I would probably say Pickard is the main guy I'm going to target of all those back-to-backs. And if there's a second guy, geez,
maybe Joey. Okay, I could see Joey Decord being drafted in most leagues. I don't know what his ownership is. I don't know. I'd feel pretty good about picking up Decord. Maybe against Minnesota. I don't know about Dallas, but no, he was absolute stud, waiver wire find last season. Just signed that.
59% owned.
Okay, so he's a just go check. But they just gave him that 5x5 deal that happened earlier this week.
Right. Yeah, but Grubauer is like 14%. Like, weirdly, he's probably the value guy. Like, he's probably the value top.
I don't know. They
G1.
gave him the first game, and no, that was a 3-2 game. That was close.
They did have a 2-0 lead, though. So, I mean, he did blow a 2-0 lead, but, I mean.
So it almost sounds like Grubauer is the stream, but I at this point have lost all confidence in Grubauer sort of regaining the net there. So it sounds like
probably the value guy, like objectively the value guy is if you have Grubauer at 14% ownership and he's currently given from the contract value to the management start and the goalie start and the coach decisions, like it seems like he's still kind of the one, if not at least the 1A, then Grubauer is probably the value start. Value start does not indicate necessarily that that's the one I would start, but I'm just saying recognizing value. Okay, I'll clarify that a little bit. For any listeners, when I say value start, I mean if you pick up one of these goalies, ideally that goalie could then serve as a starterable or rosterable goalie for at least the upcoming week and a half, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Like the longer you can hold and save ads for your skaters and not have to burn them on spot stream goalies, that's value. So that's what I mean by when I'm saying a value add. I'm not necessarily saying they're great and amazing. I'm just saying they could potentially continue to accrue sufficient starts for you And geez, if you can get a 1A for that, you normally can't just stream start a 1A. Like, that's kind of rare, actually. So in terms of that, I would say it's pretty good value. But Alan is right. I don't really think Groove's going to play his way into keeping that one spot forever.
But no,
the value's there.
So I think we both agree. Pickard, whatever start he gets, you want him. DeSmith, I don't know. Parrots Heron with another zinger. I'm not into men, but these boldy stat lines make me feel a certain way. That's another guy. I don't know. I'm waiting for the day that I see this player that everyone expects him to be. I know I drafted him last season. He didn't get moving fast enough for me, so I think I traded him to Craig. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe this is his year.
He's also always going to be overrepresented because of his projected perceived value in the future. Like, truthfully, he does, but geez, like, in my mind, he's 20 years old forever, and he's already 22 or 23. Like, we imagine infinite growth, right?
We're waiting for the breakout.
We're waiting for the further breakout and further breakout and further breakout. And it's like, dude, he's already line 1, power play 1. He's not hit anyone in like 100 years. Like, that is not something that's going to immediately change for the next 200 years afterwards. So, I mean, hopefully he continues improving, but he's going to have to, like, he's already like pretty much a point per game player, isn't he? Like, he's producing, like, in terms of like point production
he's
value.
Producing, but I feel like the hype behind him is he's that guy we're going to be taken in the first round or early second round in a year or two. But so I think looking toward next week, looks like both Colorado and Pittsburgh both have 4 games on 4 off nights. So this is where where we talk about if you're punting your week, this is where it might be time, let's look at Anthony Beauvillier. Let's look at John Drouin. I don't know if you saw anything going into at least the first part of next week you thought would be worthwhile mentioning.
God, we mentioned it already too, right? Like, Middlestad is the other guy that everyone's going to be LARPing over. And who's the other one? Oh, geez, no, it gets pretty dark for Colorado afterwards, eh? Like Ross Colton. Oh, geez, like who the hell are you gonna go for afterwards? Let's see for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is probably going to be the greater team targeting of value.
But yeah, if Beauvillier sticks,
even Malkin, right? 55% owned. Like that's probably. I know. It's kind of.
These are some 8-team leagues out there, like not drafting Malkin.
Yeah. PT, yeah, true. Like Middlestad, he looked great last game. And it's like, geez, even if you want to dig a little deeper, Michael Bunting, dude still like hustling down at the power play 2, on line 2, right?
Yeah, he's still Pittsburgh, right?
He's still Pittsburgh, yeah.
Okay.
Geez, I don't know how far you want to dig, but I guess like Ricky Rax, like you mentioned before, is still only 18%. Like,
that's what, I took him with my last pick, like, because he was at that point projected to play with Crosby on line 1. So I'm like, sweet, I want that guy. But now it looks like they're giving it to Beauvillier. But definitely a situation to watch there. Another thing I noticed is after Sunday, Winnipeg does not play again until next Friday, and all they have is their Friday, Sunday games. So maybe that's your guy you drop right away. But I think.
And what's their schedule afterwards? Let's see. So they play. Oh,
now we're looking too far.
Okay.
We're looking too far.
So they play the Friday, Sunday, which means it's actually a great guy to drop. And I would say maybe don't drop them for like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because what you'd want to do is get like a Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, or a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then you can get 5, and then the guy you just dropped hopefully clears waivers, and everyone forgets him because their schedule is terrible, and you pick them right back up on the ensuing Friday, Sunday to get 5 straight games played.
But there you go. I think that's going to wrap it for tonight. Thanks for your comments. We love it. make sure to like, subscribe, leave us 5-star reviews on Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from, and join the Discord. We just hit 2,600 like-minded fantasy hockey players, and we'll see you next time.
We'll pick you up later. PT cracks me up, man.